All right, so first off, all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number. All right, so today is going to be some reading. All right, this particular video here is going to be in the Good News translation, and it is going to be of Daniel chapter 1. Okay, previous two videos were readings of Daniel 1, but one was from the King James and the other was from the NLT. All right, so I figured we might as well go ahead and get the put this good news under the scope, this Good News translation. So let's go here first. And this is all pertaining still to the beasts. All right. Lord willing, we'll get into reading Daniel, second chapter, in all three versions. Because, well, we already read through the King James and some of the NLT. So, Lord willing, we'll get into reading it in the NLT and the good news as far as Daniel chapter 2 is concerned. All right. But since we read the introduction to getting the understanding of how Daniel made it into the Babylonian captivity, and also why he was so respected in this captivity by Nebuchadnezzar, and then later on Belshazzar. Okay. So I'm going to read the good news. We're going to put this under the scope, and it's just going to be a quick video, Lord willing, just a reading. Okay. Yeah, it's only 21 verses, 21 verses. All right. So I'm going to read this small introduction here, and then we'll go into the chapter. So it reads the book of Daniel, and again, this is in the Good News translation. It reads the book of Daniel was written during a time when the Israelites were suffering greatly under the persecution and oppression of a pagan king. Using stories and accounts of visions, the writer encourages the people of his time with the hope that Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai will bring the tyrant down and restore sovereignty to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai's people. And again, when it talks of what's going on with the Israelites then, you can pertain it to now in the spirit. All right. Some things. Okay. I mean, some things have roots in those times, but they also speak to these times now. That's what I mean. Okay. It says the book has two main parts. Number one, stories about Daniel and some of his fellow exiles who, through their faith in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, in obedience to him, triumph over their enemies. These stories are set in the time of the Babylonian and Persian empires. A series of visions seen by Daniel, which in the form of symbols present a successive rise and fall of several empires, beginning with Babylonia, and predict the downfall of the pagan oppressor and the victory of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai's people. Okay, so as it kind of hinted towards to here. Okay, the rise and fall of several empires, which are the beasts. Okay, in Revelation, all right, it speaks of the Edomite Empire that starts with the Greeks, further grabs hold of the world, takes hold of the world when it comes to Rome. Okay, Rome, everyone thinks is destroyed with the fall of the Western Roman Empire, but it is not all the way destroyed. So during the Renaissance era, this is just a little snapshot, okay? During the Renaissance era was the renewing of that dominion, of Esau's dominion, okay? Right after the Dark Ages, the so-called Dark Ages, okay, when Israelites got into power, okay? After that, during the Renaissance era, which Renaissance means renewing or rebirth of something, right? And the rebirth of what? The rebirth of the Edomite Empire, okay? The rebirth of Rome. This is the second leg of Rome over here in America, all right? And this is what these chapters are speaking of. It's prophecy. This is how we can tell, again, whom is who, and also what time it is according to the scriptures. Right? According to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahoshem Yahushai, this is how the men know these things, know and understand these things. Right? This is not for the whole world. This is why the whole world cannot receive it and bucks up against what is plain to the men of the Lord. Right? But it is not up to us to get you to understand it. It is a question of who is the Lord going to accept and reject. All right. And the accepted ones are all Israelites. All right. That's all this is for. That's it. There is a protagonist and antagonist. All right. The antagonist is Esau, Edom. The protagonist is Jacob, or the Israelites. And all the extras in the Lord's movie are these other nations. All right. So let's go ahead and read Daniel 1, again in the Good News Translation, with the subheading reading, The Story of Daniel and His Friends. Okay. Subheading again, it reads, The Young Men at Nebuchadnezzar's Court. It says, in the third year that Jehoiakim was the king of Judah, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia attacked Jerusalem and surrounded the city. The Lord let him capture King Jehoiakim and seize some of the temple treasures. He took some prisoners back with him to the temple of his gods in Babylon and put the captured treasures in the temple storerooms. The king ordered Ashpenaz, his chief official, to select from among the Israelite exiles some young men of the royal family and of the noble families. They had to be handsome, intelligent, well trained, quick to learn, and free from physical defects, so that they would be qualified to serve in the royal court. Ashpenaz was to teach them to read and write the Babylonian language. The king also gave orders that every day they were to be given the same food and wine as the members of the royal court. After 3 years of this training, they were to appear before the king. Among those chosen were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, all of whom were from the tribe of Judah. The chief official gave them new names: Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel made up his mind not to let himself become ritually unclean by eating the food and drinking the wine of the royal court. So he asked Ashpenaz to help him. And Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai made Ashpenaz sympathetic to Daniel. Ashpenaz, however, was afraid of the king. So he said to Daniel, the king has decided what you are to eat and drink. And if you don't look as fit as the other young men, he may kill me. So Daniel went to the guard whom Ashpenaz had placed in charge of him and his 3 friends. Test us for 10 days, he said. Give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare us with the young men who are eating the food of the royal court and base your decision on how we look. He agreed to let them try it for 10 days. When the time was up, they looked healthier and stronger than all those who had been eating the royal food. So from then on, the guard let them continue to eat vegetables instead of what the king provided. Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai gave the four young men knowledge and skill in literature and philosophy. In addition, he gave Daniel skill in interpreting visions and dreams. At the end of the 3 years set by the king, Ashpenaz took all the young men to Nebuchadnezzar. The king talked with them all, and Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah impressed him more than any of the others. So they became members of the king's court. No matter what question the king asked or what problem he raised, these four knew 10 times more than any fortune teller or magician in his whole kingdom. Daniel remained at the royal court until Cyrus, the emperor of Persia, conquered Babylonia. Okay, so that was just a quick reading of Daniel, the first chapter in the Good News Translation. All right, so to understand why we're reading this again, you can go back to, I did 3 videos titled The Beasts, but first, Daniel, the second chapter, okay? Or Daniel, I forget what I labeled it, but it's 3. And the cover art for the video is the golden statue, or the statue with the golden head and the iron mixed with miry clay toes, okay? So go back and listen to those, and then you'll understand why we're going through the book of Daniel, okay? Chapter 1, chapter 2, and then, Lord willing, we're going to go into chapter 7, okay? So with that, I hope this came through as sincere and edifying, and all praise to Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. A double honor to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, Shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number. And Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.